time for
Tech Tips with Sarah.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. Hey Sarah, so I have to write a lot for my job, and some days I just don't feel like I'm doing my best. Is there anything in Word that can help me out with that besides just your typical spell check?
That's a great question. Microsoft Word and actually Microsoft 365 has provided a lot of capabilities for us to help improve our writing, to do those checks that we tend to not see as our own personal editors that, guess what, other people find very easily when they look at your writing. So one of the tools that's available to us is called the editor. And let me show you how this works in Microsoft Word.
Excellent.
All right, so within Microsoft Word, we're going to have a command that's available to us on the Home tab. And this editor command is available for us, and it actually works as you're writing. If you remember in Microsoft Word, when you wanted to do your spell check, you'd have the capability under the review to choose spell check. Well, now it's actually changed to editor. Still has our favorite shortcut, though, of the F7 or function 7 key on your keyboard. But as the editor is going through and looking at your writing and looking at what you're typing, it is going to analyze and see if there are any problems. So we get our famous little squiggly lines that we see perhaps under misspelled words. We can see some blue underline if it's a grammar issue. Sometimes we'll see a double underline as well. And all of these different notifications that we see in our document are from different items that Microsoft Word, or more importantly, the editor finds. So how do we look at what Word has suggested for us or found as a potential issue? You can click on the Editor tab, and this will bring the editor pane to the right-hand side of your screen. Now, in this case, I've got 10 suggestions. Not saying I did it wrong, but they just have some suggestions that maybe I want to look at and see if something's better. Now, you can, of course, look at the editor after you're done writing your document, as most people suggest. Edit after you've written everything. Don't worry about making it pretty when you're working on it. But if there's something that's really bothering you, you can also just right-click on that item that's been highlighted either with the spelling line or the blue underline. And then you'll see under spelling, it will give you suggestions. Same thing here. If I right-click on the word there, it will give me a suggestion of what might be the problem that I have here. So you can use either one of those. What I really like about the editor is that it goes beyond your spelling and your grammar. It'll look for things like clarity. Are you not being clear on something? Is there a better way to phrase something that you wrote? In this case, we want to quickly and efficiently finish this task. Well, we can phrase that as we want to finish this task quickly and efficiently. So you can utilize these suggestions, choose that option, and it will make that correction for you. You also have something with conciseness, a phrase that I have saying we will mainly focus on how we can improve our meeting times. Well, mainly is kind of vague. It provides that uncertainty. Let's just say we will focus on something. So again, I can change that item there. And of course, all these wonderful suggestions here. One that is always a point of contention, is the Oxford comma. People are wondering, what's the Oxford comma? Well, it's my favorite thing, and I will always use it until the end of time, no matter what anyone says. I know there was a legal case about this where the Oxford comma made a huge difference for people. But for my punctuation conventions, you'll see that in my list, expenses, revenue, and the net income. People are saying you don't need the comma here. I say you do. So I can actually configure the settings to say, make sure you include that comma like we have here. How does Microsoft Word or the editor know these things, that I want to include that, or that I might be informal in some of my phrases? You'll see there's a settings option right below all of your list items in the editor. And this will bring up your Word options dialog. Again, one of my favorite screens in Microsoft Office. When you're looking at this information, you'll see that when correcting spelling and grammar in Word, you can actually choose settings for your writing style. And this is where you can be very specific about what you want the editor to look for in terms of grammar. Obviously, you see I'm very particular about it. Just check everything. Who knows how bad I write? You can also have items for clarity. What do you want to check for clarity, for conciseness, for formality? Inclusiveness is incredibly important for us to make sure that we're being inclusive here. And then here's my punctuation. I can either have Oxford comma or that unnecessary comma, getting rid of that unnecessary comma. It's necessary, people, don't get me wrong. And then the never-ending conflict with, do you use one space or two spaces? Old school, two spaces.
Mhm.
And then, of course, stuff for resume and vocabulary. So there's a wealth of information here to help improve your writing. And even if it is correct, it's still just giving you that capability to look at it. It's a virtual set of eyes that you have on your document that are not yours. So it's really helpful to make sure that you do have clear, concise writing, and you just get the ability to catch those errors before they go out to the public.
Very cool, Sarah. Thank you for that tech tip.
Thank you.
We hope you found this video helpful. If you've got a question for Sarah, please contact her at connect@sarahdelnick.com.